you think that these people are motivated by Tim Walz?
No, I think that they're provided cover by Democrats, and lesser individuals are motivated by what is grown from the seeds of people like Tim Walz. Now, I don't think Tim Walz has said anything that we would say, variable plus Tim Walz equals a guy who goes and shoots up an ICE facility. But what we can say is Kamala Harris solicits funding to bail out rioters is a seed planted, or it is watering of an ideological extremist plant.
Exactly.
The next thing you'll get is a group of young people being told this is normal and okay. And then when they decide to add 1 degree to the crisis, it escalates to this. So what we have right now is we've allowed the normalization of explosives being launched at police. And we say fireworks, but these are mortars and they can kill you, but they are very unlikely to. So they are a lethal attack against police, and the police do nothing about it. There's going to be a 17-year-old. They're going to be radicalized. They're going to enter the fray where they know they will not be arrested, charged, or shot at or harmed in any way if they lob explosives at police. So what happens? They will then, as the seeds of that rhetoric, escalate by a single degree. As you keep doing that, you eventually get to this. So it's not that instantly overnight there's a existing faction. It's all of these things are going to be snowballs rolling down a hill.
Yeah, that's a great point. The conditions have been essentially, fostered by Democrats for the better part of the past 2 decades. Whether it be Kamala Harris allowing for or promoting bailing out people that are arrested for rioting. Yeah,
literally promoting the fund.
Or Maxine Waters, who is a terrible, terrible person, talking about getting in the face of politicians and going after them, or the fact that there were so many people protesting outside of the Supreme Court justices' homes. The fact that their addresses got out in the first place is a terrible thing. But like the fact that Democrats weren't absolutely excoriating the protesters outside of their homes. All of these things is a culmination of a decade. Go ahead.
The argument that Yoram was making the other day is that Kent State effectively put a stop to the violent extremism. People died. Yep. And that meant that for these violent extremists, they need cover. If there's 10 extremists, they need that critical mass protesting in the street. Mm-hmm. This is what I was saying about the reality of letting the baby have his bottle not working, nor am I am certainly not advocating for what Kent State was. But the argument that Yoram was making is that when college students who normally protest mindlessly and have no idea what's going on provide cover to these extremists, but then the National Guard shoots several of them, those college students stay the heck away and just avoid it, taking away the cover for the extremists to engage in violence.
I mean, we saw that a million times in 2020. I remember a specific example in October of 2020 in Philly when we were covering a protest, a BLM march, and everybody's marching, and then all of a sudden we hear that there's mass looting going on 10 minutes away because all the police are occupied by covering the protest and making sure that the protest is safe. So then you have a power vacuum. And so any place that you create a power vacuum, that's where the agitators and the scurrilous actors can basically step in. And it doesn't matter. It's human nature. Like people think, oh, well, like we can create the Chaz and it'll be like all party-like atmosphere. Yeah,
but let me. But I will just clarify for that argument that was made because I just fact-checked. The Kent State shooting was arguably 5 years, was well before many of these bombings that were taking place. The most notable ones from the Weather Underground.
Weather Underground, the Capitol was before that?
The U.S. Capitol was 71. Kent State was 70.
70,
yeah. The D.C. bombing was 75. You had 1970, 1971, 72, 75. So they were engaged in this well after Kent State. I don't believe that Kent State actually had chilled on anyone's spine as the argument was made the other day.
When was the bombing? It was April, I think.
Which one?
The Capitol.
March 1st?
March 1st. So then
May
Day, both my parents were in D.C. actually. May Day 1971 was the biggest mass arrest in American history. It was 8,000 protesters were arrested all at once.
Wow.
And that was, basically bringing down the hammer. They literally were landing Chinooks underneath the Washington Monument. There's crazy photos. And there were National Guardsmen all from Georgetown all the way to 7th Street with bayonets fixed to their guns.
Wow.
On May Day, it doesn't surprise me,
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.